FFA, good morning, everybody. Who's ready to jumpstart this week? Coming off of an amazing week last week. So many of you guys went big. So many of you guys hit your new personal best records. So shout out to you. Make sure that you guys go to the WhatsApp chat and peep the agent leaderboard following today's call. And give a big shout out to the top 15. Wednesday's call is going to be the call that you guys do not want to miss, as we have some of those top agents from last week come on and share their story about how they did so good last week. So hats off to you guys for crushing it last week, setting the bar high. And guys, here we are going into the middle of October. It is the best time of the year to just put your head down, run hard, and hit those goals that you set for yourself in the beginning of this year. So jumping into today's call, all right, we're going to talk about using the gifts that God has given you to be able to multiply, to be faithful with just a few, and what that looks like. And so, guys, jumping into this career, right, you every single day have to rely on the faith that you have for an opportunity to come your way, right? You can knock on the doors, you could buy the leads, you could make the phone calls, but ultimately, the one who created us is in charge of putting that good client in your path today, right? And so there's actually a parable, and this is going to dive into the verse of the day. Really, though, it's a whole section, and it's Matthew 25, is verses 14 to 30, and it's the parable of the three servants. And if you guys haven't read this, or if you haven't heard about this, or even if you're not a faithful person right now, right? Maybe you're exploring that, maybe you've never even thought about it before. Think about this story because you can still relate it, all right, to your life. But there's a parable of three servants in Matthew 25, verse 14 to 30. And the gist of the story, right, is that a master gave each one of his servants something, right? He gave each one of them something, and he told them to go out there, right, and use it. And the very first servant went out there. He had five gifts, and he multiplied that, right? He 5x'd it, right? He put his gifts to work and brought home a return. The second servant did the same thing, but he only had two gifts, right? And so he doubled his return, but he went out there and he used what he was given to multiply it. And then the third servant, who only had one gift, right? But he was given something, he was too afraid to use what he was given. And so he hid it under a rock, right? And he just protected it. And he brought it back to the master, and he was probably really excited, right? That he still had it. But the master looked at him, right? And was ashamed that he was so fearful to use what he was given, so fearful of losing it, that he didn't use it, and he just came home with the exact same thing. And so, guys, that parable is really interesting because that is how a lot of us live our daily life. And I believe that that story in the Bible was a lesson, right? Or I would even call it a warning to us of what we're going to be judged like if we don't go out and use the gifts that God has given us every single day to multiply. All right. And so diving into this, right, the master actually went so far as to call that third servant wicked and lazy, right? Called him wicked and lazy because he just took that thing, buried it, didn't use it, didn't do nothing, just hoarded it. And guys, that's what we do every single day when we don't use the gifts that we have. I believe every single one of you on this call right now, you have a unique gift. Actually, you have multiple gifts, right? You have a uniqueness about you that our creator gave you. And how do you use that in your daily life? How do you use that in your work? How do you use that in your relationships? How do you use that in your finances, right? All of these things. And so think about this sermon, guys. There was four lessons, all right, that I took away from that scripture that I think applied to us in this career, just humans in general, right? In daily life that could help us. Number one is we got to be good stewards over the gifts that we have. Think about, what is your gift right now? Maybe you're phenomenal at talking with other people. Maybe you're an extrovert. Maybe you can connect with anybody. Maybe you've been given the gift of being very detail oriented, right? Like you're a numbers based crunching person. You just are phenomenal with statistics, right? Tracking stuff. Maybe that's your gift. Maybe your gift is that you're just hardworking, right? Maybe you struggled in school your whole life, but you outworked everybody else. Maybe your gift is that you're very good at speaking, talking to other people. Maybe you're very good at inspiring other people. Maybe you're a very good coach, right? Maybe if you're looking at your career, right, you're like, yeah, I'm a good salesperson, but ultimately I'm a really good trainer. You have a unique gift. All right. And guys, I think part of us unlocking the purpose that God has for us in life and really unlocking success in what we do as agents is being able to identify what's the gift, right? And then how do we use it? See, for me, when I was a new agent, I was not good at talking to other people. Like I was not an extrovert at all. When I was a brand new agent, if you told me I'd now be doing a live conference call, I would have probably laughed at you, right? But that wasn't my gift. But I'll tell you what my gift was. I could work hard, right? Like I could be out of my door at 5 a.m. and not come back till 9 p.m. unless I won, right? Unless I made a sale. I was very disciplined. That was my gift. And so I used that, right? To be successful. I probably had to do 50 times the door approaches that you guys have to do because my door approach was horrible. And objections, I didn't even try to overcome them, right? Miss Betty told me to get lost. All right, Miss Betty, whatever. I'm on to the next lead, right? I was horrible at overcoming objections, but I tapped into my gift of being able to work hard. That's all you have to do if you guys want to have success today or you want to have success this week. All right, if you want to build this agency up for yourself, that's all you have to do is be a good steward over the gift or the gifts that God's created you with. All right. And you don't have to be good at everything, guys. You just have to tune in and use the gift that you were given. One of the worst things, the thing that I think about the most is, what if I get to the end of the road in life and I don't use my gifts the way God wanted me to? Right? Now life is all about trying to figure out what he wants you to do with those gifts, right? But what if you get to the end and you've never even tried, right? That's the worst thing. I just think of the master calling that servant, right, wicked and lazy. It wasn't that the servant was a bad person, but he didn't use what he was given. All right. Number two, faith over fear. You see, those two servants that went out and multiplied, they weren't fearful that they were going to lose what they were given. You see, they were given something and they looked at it like a tool to be able to multiply and build more. And they weren't afraid of what happens if they lose it. All right. They trusted God that they could put that tool and implement it and they would be rewarded in bringing back more. See, they were faithful that they could actually multiply what they were given and they weren't fearful. Guys, every week that you wake up, right, and you're looking at those commissions you made from last week and you're fearful of buying some new leads. All right. If you're still working aged leads, come on, guys, get a real-time lead order going at least. Still work the aged ones, but give up a little bit extra money, put some effort, put some investment into your business, right? Guys, if you wake up and you want to build an agency and you're fearful of investing in recruiting leads, right? Or time, right? Time is one of the things we waste the most of, not talking to other people about this opportunity. You're living in fear, right? If you're not reaching out to potential new agents to work alongside of you because you're fearful of what they might say, you're just like that third servant. You're suppressing your gifts that could impact other people because you're fearful of what other people would think about you if you use the gifts, right? That's Satan's way of keeping you stuck in the same spot your whole life. All right? He tricks you, right? He tricks you into thinking that you can't use your gift because he puts fear inside of you, right? And if he does that, he knows that he's winning, right? He knows he could potentially suppress one of God's creation, something that he created with gifts to impact the world. He's suppressing that. And so every day that you guys wake up, every day you go knock on the door, right? Or heck, you've got a lead and they're a specific age and you're fearful that that person's not going to be a good lead, so you don't even go to it. You're living in fear, right? You're not operating out of faith. You're not using your gifts, you're suppressing those. So you have to have faith over fear. See, that third servant, when he hid that thing in the rock, right? Under the rock, he was fearful that he was going to lose it. And that's why he was basically shunned compared to the other two servants, is because he didn't have faith. He suppressed what he was given. And so, guys, don't be fearful today. Pick up those phones, call the leads, knock on more doors than you've ever knocked on before, and just watch what happens. Watch the opportunities get unlocked. All right. You have to have faith over fear in this job, from selling to recruiting to building your business up, if you want to win. All right. And the third thing, we got two more, then we'll wrap up today's call, is responsibility, right? The lesson I learned through that parable is you're responsible for the gift that you've been given. All right. And you have to use it in a way that gives glory back to him and then impacts other people and multiplies. So that's your responsibility, right? It's just like you went out, right? You bought a car. That car is your responsibility. Changing the oil in it is your responsibility. Keeping it up to date, keeping it clean, keeping it running, right? Keeping gas in the tank is your responsibility. What would happen if you take your car, right? And you just never put gas in it again? Eventually, you'd be stuck on the side of the road and you would go nowhere. Guys, so many of us do that with our career. We have a gift that we're not being responsible for. We don't invest in it. We don't unlock it. We don't use it. And then we're stuck, right? And we wonder why in 10 years we still have the same financial troubles that we had 10 years ago. It's because you never put gas back in your tank, right? You never use your gift. So be responsible with what you've been entrusted with. All right. And this is a challenge. It's a challenge for me, right? Every day you got to wake up, because a lot of times you might just not feel like using the gift you were given for that specific time. There might be things, I can't do X because of Z, right? Whatever excuses the devil wants to put in our path today. But be responsible and fill your tank up even when you don't feel like it, right? And then the last thing is increase. All right. This parable is very specific and it's very just easy to understand. If you use the gift you're given, you will be given more. It's just, it says it right in there, right? If you use what you're given, you will receive an increase. Plain and simple. And so, guys, if you're a person of faith, you should be able to go out there every day knowing that, right? You shouldn't be wondering if you're going to have a successful week. You know you're going to have a successful week because it's right in the book. It says if you go out and use your gifts, you're going to multiply. You're going to come back with more. Don't second guess it, right? Don't second guess yourself. Don't second guess that scripture. It's spelled out there for us. If you use what you're given, you're going to be given more. Plain and simple. All right. Now, I'm not one to say, hey, give to get whatever, but that specific scripture is very, very specific. If you use your gift, you're going to receive more in return for using it. So you guys go out and be motivated, right? That scripture tells me, like, I'm going to talk to more people this week about becoming an agent than I have ever talked to before. I'm going to go knock on as many doors as I've ever knocked on before, because I know the more I do that, the more that's coming back to me. It's in that scripture. It's the success code, right? Everybody's reading books, self-help books, podcasts, motivational speakers, right? For the secret to success. The secret is right there. Use what you're given and you're going to be given more. It's that simple, guys. Don't be afraid of purchasing some leads to go knock on the doors today, right? The more you purchase, the more you're going to increase. The more activity you do, the more you're going to get back. The more you use the gifts you're given, the more that's coming to you in return. But if you suppress yourself, if you hide under a rock, if you're living in fear, you're going to be stuck there. And you don't want to do that, get to the end of the road and be called wicked and lazy, right? Like that third servant was. So this parable means so much. It's the success code, right? It is the success code for you to fulfill, right, your purpose in life using the gifts that God has given you. So appreciate you guys for jumping on here. It's Monday. I'm going to wrap the call up there. Let's go have another big week, and we will be back here on Wednesday. Make sure you guys tune into Wednesday so you can hear from some agents, hear from your peers from last week on how they were able to have a big week. Appreciate you guys for jumping in here. We will see you guys Wednesday.